So let's add to our calculator. So the last time we worked on our calculator, we had added selection statements so that now the user can choose whether or not they want to add, subtract, multiply, divide, or let's see, we added in modulo here. We could add in floor division, so we added those selection statements. So now we're going to modify our calculator so that the user can continue to do calculations with two numbers until they want to quit. So we need to add a while loop. So the while loop is going to work here in the main function. It's going to let the main program run over and over again. It's going to allow them to enter their first number, enter their second number, and choose an operation until they want to quit. So we only need to print the welcome once. So this is the code that we want to repeat over and over again. We want them to be able to enter two new numbers, choose an operation, and then do the correct operation, printing the result each time. So this is the code that's going to go inside of the loop. Let's actually write the loop in a separate file. So we're going to call this let's just call this control loop quit. And let's save this. All right, so we're going to put our loop here. Let's make our loop run here. So remember, for every loop, we need to set our condition. We're going to check our condition, and we're going to update our condition. And the update always happens inside the loop, or else we can't get outside the loop. So in this case, our condition, so this is, and we'll just put in our information here, spring 2019, and this is a while loop that continues until the user wants to end. So our condition is going to be some sort of user input, and there's lots of different ways we could set this up. We could say, enter Q to quit. We could say enter yes if you want to continue, no if you want to quit, if you'll remember the example that we did before. And so we can do any of those kinds of things. So let's just say, would you like to make a calculation? And we're going to tell the user this is going to be a yes, no. And we can put a space there just to make it look nice. And so again, our while loop can either be controlled as long as they say yes, we will continue. As long as they say no, we'll end. So it can either be the true condition is they did enter yes, or the true condition can be they did not enter no. Either of those will work. So let's go with while UI equals yes, or UI equals a capital yes. This is going to be our checking our condition. We're checking user input as our condition, and we're going to go ahead and go with the positive. If they've entered a lowercase yes or an uppercase yes, then we want to continue the loop. And so the update of this condition is, so there's going to be some code here, and remember we need to indent. We're going to update the condition inside the loop, so it needs to be indented. So this would be whatever code it is we're going to be running inside the loop, the code that we want to repeat, and then we're going to update the condition. The condition is the user input, and so updating it is really just getting input again from the user. And we can sort of clarify this. Would you like to make another calculation? Because they've already done one. Yes or no. So let's check that this runs, and we'll just do print we're in the loop. So this is just test code. It can be any code. as we're going to see in just a minute. So we're going to run this. We like to make a calculation. Yes, we're in the loop. Yes, we're in the loop. So that our repeat code is running until we exit. And this is how the loop works. And now we can go ahead and put this loop in here. So this essentially is, so here's the code we want to repeat. Over here, this is the code we want to repeat. So really we're just going to replace the code over here with our code that we wrote here in our main function. So let's just go ahead and take this whole loop and put it in our main function in the correct place. Let's make this larger so we can see it. So this is our loop right here. And we have to check our indenting. Since we want this to belong in the main function, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this and I'm going to indent this region. So I need everything indented here underneath main. So we have our welcome statement here, and let me put some spaces so you can kind of see. So I moved this code. This is the while loop that we wrote. So here is our set condition, here is our check condition, and this right here is the code we wrote, just the test statement here. Let's separate this out so we can see it. And now really though, in this, we want to replace our little test statement with the actual code that we want to have repeated. So we're going to cut that from here and we're going to put that inside here. And of course all of this needs to be indented. So again, we can just highlight and indent the region. And now this is the code that we had written for our calculator with our selection statements, getting our input from the user. This is the code we want to repeat over and over and over again until the user wants to quit, and the user can quit whenever they enter anything that is not a Y. It's all indented inside of the while, as is our update condition, which is going to give the user the opportunity to quit outside of the loop. So all of this is in our main function. So we've got this level of indentation here. We have this second level of indentation here because all of this in here belongs to the while loop. And once they quit, we can just have some sort of print statement that says, have a nice day. So once they quit, there's some sort of statement that tells them that they've quit, have a nice day, you're not inside our program anymore. And this is outside of the while loop because we only want this to run once the user has quit and left this loop. So let's run this. All right, so I do want to make a calculation. So let's do 100 and 2, and let's divide these so we get 50. And now do we want to make another calculation? We can say yes. Let's say 100, let's say 2, and let's mod that. It's going to be 0. And whenever we're just going to be able to continue entering numbers, continue doing calculations until we're ready to quit. And then it tells us to have a nice day and we're done. So that's an important use of while loops, is to be able to let the user repeat a section of code over and over again. And like I mentioned in previous videos, I mean, this is how programs work. Microsoft Word is on a loop. I mean, it's open until you perform some sort of action that makes some sort of statement false, and then it's going to close. So I mean, modern applications use more sophisticated programming, often object-oriented, often event-driven. So really what you do is you have a loop that's listening for an event, like a click on the X button, or a click on the close underneath the tabs. But it's really all loops. So I mean, there's something that's constantly repeating, waiting for a particular action. So now we've significantly increased our abilities here when it comes to programming, because now we can have a program continue to run until something happens, and then it won't run anymore. So congratulations on your new superpower. Practice it and see what you can do with it, and happy programming.